Please feel free to interrupt. If I'm not clear at all, please feel free to interrupt. If any thoughts at all come into your head, please feel free to interrupt.
Okay. So I will keep myself on mute otherwise.
All right, so it's 5 minutes until.
Yeah.
And when you're watching, I'm going to show you the super cute little index cards that I made to help myself. Like, hello, one person, welcome. Welcome to the very, very first Workshop Wednesday here on my BookTube channel, but it's for teachers. So, yeah.
What are the analytics you can see on your side as people are entering?
There's only one person right now, and I cannot see who it is. And we are live, so our conversation is...
Oh, wait. You're live?
I'm live right now, yeah.
Okay, because I clicked on that link, and I don't...
Let me go to my Twitter and see if
Workshop, I have to go to videos. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, did you find it?
Yes.
I'm live. Okay, I'm just going to type it for the students that are already following me. And then...
Because I just realized I'm on my phone with headphones, but I can't hear you if I do that. So
okay.
Myself on
there are two people now. Hello, if you're here for the Cal State thing, please make sure you put your name so that Annelle knows that you're here. She's here in my phone. It's like having a pocket Annelle. She's muted. So.
Yes, I'm here, and the delay. Yes, I'm here.
Ooh.
The delay. So Jenna and I we are learning by doing.
Ooh. All right, so you can't have your volume on both the YouTube and the phone call, I believe. And we're not going to hear you on YouTube. So now there are 4 people. Hello, if you're here for Cal State Teach, please make sure that you type your name in the chat below. Welcome, Brant. I was going to say, what grade do you teach? And it's like, hello, Jenna, that's not what's going on. How are you doing, Brant? How is life? How are you doing during this time? Okay, we're going to wait until 12 o'clock to get started. If you are in here for Cal State Teach, please make sure your name you are typing over here so that Annelle knows that you're here. Annelle is with me in phone. Welcome. It looks like we're up to 5 people. Please type your name right here so that Annelle knows that you're here. My name is Jenna, and before we begin, oh, no, I'm going to wait. I'm always jumping into it.
Hey, Jenna.
Yes.
I'm going to try and talk to you by muting you on YouTube.
Okay, that works. Because we can't hear you on YouTube.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to try and use the chat as much as possible then.
Yes. So Brant is doing, oh, Patricia just showed up. Yay. Hey, Patricia. Well, welcome to a YouTube live session. I have done presentations like this with like California League of Schools, etc. So I also taught VIP Kid. So if you're just popping in, please make sure that you type your name right here. The nice thing that's different from this to Zoom, Brant, is you never have to worry if your webcam is going to turn on. You know, drink your adult beverage. I'll never know. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome. So I see we have 7 people in the chat, and I just want everyone to get credit. So please make sure. Yes, right there. That's perfect. Right there. You got it. Okay, so one of the things you guys have to know about me is that I teach 2nd grade, and even when I taught upper grades, I have a lot of energy, and this is who I am. So if you have to take a step back, I understand. All right, welcome. Is that name Canella? Am I saying that right? Hi, Jacob. Yes, you're doing it perfect. Hi, Chelsea. Welcome, welcome. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited to talk to you. Ooh, Brent even put in what term he's in. Hi, Jennifer Hernandez. Hello, Allison. Hello, Erica. Nay. Okay, thank you. Let me go back up and look at it again. Canela? And now you want to help me out here with the name? And that's actually really important. Like names for, like think about that when you're in your classroom and you have. Think about that when you're in your classroom. Is that names are very precious to us. So please, if you're gonna have a hard time saying a student's name, it happens to me all the time. Just be honest and be like, I want to say your name right. Hello. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so pleased to see you. Welcome. I hope you guys are all doing well. It's 12:01 stable. To me, YouTube. Okay, thank you. My goodness. So I have been teaching this area since 2007. I was in 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I stayed there for a while. And then about 8 years into my teaching career, I went and I taught teachers at the Lake County Office of Education. I was the Ed Tech STEM specialist for several years, and I was also the teacher of an alternative high school. So I have a very wide, I have also taught junior college. So I have a wide kind of like experience, but it's all within Lake County. And Lake County is a special place. We have had several fires, lots of trauma, and the finances in this area. I think the median household income is less than 50,000. You'd have to do a little bit of research. Don't take that number at face value. That's just me using my memory, not data. I am so good. Oh, welcome to your first YouTube live chat. Oh, that makes me so excited. So I just want to tell you about my students. They're hardworking. They come from hardworking families, and there's generational poverty. There's mental health issues. There's a lot of our population that is underserved for a variety of reasons. So I want you to understand that you're talking to somebody who teaches every once in a while. I will have a student come to school very upset. And when I have a conversation with that student, I find out that a parent died, a parent went to jail, there was a big fight at home. Not always, and it's pretty prevalent in the area. So I want you to understand that, like, I love where I teach, and I teach where I teach because I love serving kids. And these are kids who all kids deserve to be served. All right, my friends, we can talk in circles a few more minutes. I'm going to go to your questions. If you have more questions as I'm talking, go ahead and type them in here. And this is our very first workshop Wednesday, and it's going to work like this. I'm going to come on, and right now I'm just answering your questions that I got from Anel, and then from this, I would love for each of you to go out, do something, learn something, and then have questions, and then come back. And I'd love to be able to really align the topics of this kind of experience with exactly what you need, because I could talk forever about anything. So it's good for me to have a little structure. Speaking of, teaching to a camera is very different than teaching to kids, because in the classroom, I could get the energy off the kids. I could read them by looking at them. Am I talking about this too much? Are they interested? Do you know what I mean? So this is, so be aware of that if you embrace this kind of teaching, if this is the kind of teaching that you're going to be expected to do, just know it's going to feel really weird. I'm in my kitchen talking to my computer. All right, question number 1. Does the school provide a budget for all the neat stuff you have in your room, and do you find it to be enough? Those are 2 really great questions. Number 1, no. If you start, when it comes to classroom budgets, expect, but you have to remember, I'm in an area where there's a lot of poverty and we don't get a whole lot. So in my classroom, I think we got $400, and that's like a great year. Like if you get $400, you need to like buy all the pens, paper, pencils you ever can, or glue, and because that's going to be the stuff that you really need. Everything else, it's really, the money situation is really kind of complicated as a teacher because there's stuff you need, especially when you're starting out. When I started out, I had no money. I was living in an RV, in an RV park the next town over. And I ended up using the staff room colored paper to make my walls. I had no money. And so what I end up doing is I end up really looking at thrift stores. At the end of the year, there are tons of stuff that usually at the end of the year, teachers are in their classroom right now purging, and that's a great place to go. I've seen people write wish lists on the whiteboard, things like, oh, I need whiteboard markers. If you're just joining us, please make sure that you're typing your name over here so that Nell knows you're here. And please feel free to chat amongst yourselves, ask questions. I'm answering just these few questions, and then, yeah. So in the end, it's going to cost you time or money. When you don't have a lot of money, you're going to spend a lot of time doing it the cheap way. If you have a little extra cash, the other side, Jenna. If you have a little extra cash, though, the more money you make, the older you get, you end up buying stuff. So the district will give you anywhere from $600 is like, holy cow, I've never heard of that. I think I was offered that like my very, very first year. Sometimes that'll be the incentive. Good. Thank you so much for putting those in there. Yeah. Oh, do you guys get phone calls from like something called like Health 2020? They won't leave me alone. All right. So then that is the answer to that, is that you're going to spend your own money. But there are things you could do, garage sales, thrift stores.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Please do.
You can.
Please.
Because there's a lag. So what I see and what I hear on the phone is actually different. So I'm not going to interrupt you a lot because there's like a 2-second lag.
We've got a lag, guys.
Yeah. So I'm going to just do the chat. And,
okay.
And I will communicate with you as well through the chat.
I'll keep my eyes on the chat then.
Because every time I have to mute so you don't hear the reverberating, I accidentally click the forward button and it takes me to the next YouTube channel.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, then we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you in the chat.
Yes, and thank you so much because I love this already. And just full disclosure, I worked at the school that Jenna teaches at. Jenna and I never actually worked together, but I've been in her classroom, and you only have to be in there literally 5 minutes, and you're just like, can I move into the little corner here so I can learn forever? So anyway, thank you, Jenna, for joining us, and I will not interrupt you anymore. Bye.
I'm so sorry. If you have a lag, you might need to refresh your screen. I want you to know, Alvina, I saw your question, and I will answer it when I'm done with this. I will start moving a little bit faster, guys. I tend to have kind of a lag. You got things to do, so I'll move on. So in the publication area, she's talking about, if you watched my video, there's the question about where the work is. So what you saw was something colored, but what it actually was something like this. These are just 10 things, not 10, but, etc. And these are magnetic. And so what I did was the magnets were for me to know where they were. So the work was actually on that publishing wall. It was that whole wall with all those sheet protectors. The way I modified it in second grade was that I kept all of their work in that sheet protector for the whole month. And then once a month, the second graders went through and looked at the work and decided which one they wanted to go into their portfolio. So that was a really fun thing I did. That the kids really liked. They like moving their magnet when they're progressing, when they're making progress. And so then this is like a bonus, like woo woo. Practice overgeneralization I knew that was going to happen. Practice overgeneralization. So right here we've got magnetic stuff, and that's how I was keeping track of publishing, right? But there's lots of different ways that you could use this. You could have Pi 10 or a door sometimes that's magnetic, or whiteboard, and you can have the results to your math scores, your spelling scores right here every week, and the student moves their magnet so they're aware of where they are on the learning spectrum. You'll notice I don't have anything below 70%. That's because I use that section for the kids that at least got 1 point more. If you got 1 point more, man, think about that, guys. If we spent 1 minute more on a hobby we really liked, if we lost 1 more pound, those little things, they build up. So when I say overgeneralized, I mean, when you hear something like you can put magnets on 10s to keep track of the writing process, what else could you keep track of? If you are with me, will you please go ahead and type maybe a couple ideas? What could you keep track of? You could keep track of content mastery, addition, subtraction fluency, multiplication, division fluency. You get to keep track of any data. And what's nice about tracking data with students is that dun 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 dun, intercurricular, bum 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 bum. Yes, sight words. Absolutely, Edward Norton. You have the best name ever. Yes, participation. Yes, fluency. You guys get it. AR points. Yes, yes, and yes. So, sorry, get excited. Calm down. So when I'm talking about this intercurricular, yes, reading levels, yes, all of those things. You guys, you're geniuses. So what's nice about when you collect data with students that they can see is then you can then have a conversation with them about that authentic data set that they have been a part of creating. So you could also then use it for observation. And that observation can go all the way to socio-emotional, as in, what might a student, I would ask my fifth graders, what might a student feel? Not how do you feel, but how might a student feel not getting their magnet in this percentage? And the kids have that conversation. Yes, the books that they've read, absolutely. Yes, you guys get it. And that's what this is about. That's what teaching is about. It's about getting set on fire and running in one direction until you hit a wall, and then turning and running the other direction until something, connects. That's what teaching is. So if you are like this, thinking about all those ideas, that's the overgeneralization practice that's going to make you an awesome lesson designer, because you're broadening all of your thinking. All right. So anytime you can collect data with students and make observations, you can give them sentence frames. You can do it math-centric. Like I notice the most magnets are on blank, or you could draw inferences like we're getting better at spelling. Well, how do you know that? And then using the graph for that. So that is that question. Who is present for the day? Hi, my name is Jenna Rogers. I teach second grade at Pomo Elementary. So yes, hello. Do teachers get to keep their same classroom? No, there's no guarantee. This year I saw a kindergarten teacher pour her whole life into her classroom, and then the district did some rearranging, and that teacher had to not only leave her classroom, her school, she had to leave the site. She had to go teach a different grade level than she had been planning for the whole summer. So that happens. So no, there is no guarantee that once you get into that classroom, that's going to be your classroom forever. And I will say, when you get your classroom, the very, very, very first thing, clear that baby out. Empty everything out, put it on the tables, organize your materials by topics, and find places to shove them, and then you'll forget about them. And then you'll find them when you decide, I'm going to clean this classroom. All right, so then do teachers, okay, then you said probably spent more than I should have on the Walmart. Yes, and yes. Those bins were I probably spent $60 on bins that day. There's just going to be that situation where you have to decide what are you going to spend your money on. Like in the beginning, I would have never spent $60 on buckets. I found these really nice, they're like huge. They're like buckets, baskets. And that's where the kids put their backpacks. But I found that at the thrift shop. So when it comes to money, it's like, it's really just going to be about do what you can. You know what I mean? Duct tape is decorative and cheap. Oh, there's also cheap, like if you need a cheap, if you hear about something like, ooh, student whiteboards that, you know, you can put those things in, they're like an insert. If you're like, ooh, that's really nice, but they're $30 a piece, they're not, but you know, then you can like tweet me or DM me or email me or chat right now. What's a cheap way to do? And I promise you, I have found a way to do it on the cheap. Those sleeve protectors, they're just sheet protectors. And when I was so broke I couldn't do cardstock, I did construction paper that I cut in half. So allow yourself to be as frugal as you want to be, because in that frugality, you're going to find some really interesting solutions that you wouldn't have thought of before. What percentage of my stuff is something I bought? It's probably 5 to 95. I probably have spent 95% of the money that you see in the classroom. But you got to remember, guys, I've been doing this for 13 years. And, oh gosh. Okay. There's going to be a point in your life in which you're like, okay, I'm going to move grade levels. Do I throw everything away or do I keep it? I threw everything away when I left 5th grade. I mean, everything I gave and just got rid of everything. And I've been okay. I've been okay in 2nd grade without it. So I don't know. It just kind of depends on you. So do you think that your class size is big enough to accommodate the students who have to sit 6 feet away? Absolutely not. That was one of the comments that I made. Yes, whiteboards, great idea. Yes, that's absolutely right. Shelby, that's an excellent point. She says, be careful because you spend a whole bunch of money. So also about posters. Yes. Oh, what's the line? I think that line is different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like there's there are teachers whose classrooms, like if you don't know and you're looking at it, you might be like, ooh. But what we don't know is that teacher has everything planned and that those piles make absolute sense to them. So that line is different for everybody. How much should you invest in your classrooms? As much as you feel comfortable with, but always go on the cheap end first. Here's the worst nightmare, right? You spend $1,200 on this amazing program. I've never done that. And then you implement it and it bombs and it's like damaging kids. That's a nightmare. So like if you're worried about what you're going to purchase or what you should purchase, have a conversation with your mentor teacher, have a conversation with Anel, ask other teachers, what do you do, etc. All right. Yes, between the line of hoarding stuff and saving stuff. And I try to buy stuff. What would I invest money in? And when I started out, I didn't invest money in anything. Nothing. There's no Pinterest perfect. I'm so glad somebody put this. You guys, you have to put perfection out of your mind. This is not the profession for perfection. This is a profession of, hey, here's a problem. Let's dig in. Let's do some creative problem solving. That didn't work. Whoops, let's go do something else. If you're attached to perfection, it's going to be really hard because there's no way to be the perfect teacher. No matter what you see on Instagram, no matter how many adorable YouTube videos you see, there's no such thing. It's imaginary, and it's a pressure that we don't need to put on ourselves. So there's that. Someone asked about my VIP experience. VIP teaching was very much like digital learning. Here was my screen. This was the lesson that was the content that the actual company put together. And then here was the kid up here. And then here was me. You can tell that's me because I'm wearing purple lipstick. And so I would run through the lesson and the student would get 1 to 5 stars based on their behavior. And then I did a quick write-up. This has been really beneficial for me when I'm done with my class. I'm not going to show you names, but I will show you what this looks like. And I'm not going to be able to find it, am I? Nope, I'm not going to be able to find it because I want to find it right now. Yes, it's been it has been effective. I have had a lot of, I'm assuming you're asking about the effectivity of being online with students. Yes, it has still been very effective because there's a connection here. This live component is really important because it helps connect you to the kiddo. Now, for me, in all fairness, this nowadays is more like this. There's more like 16 kids here. That's a fib. There's 6 right here. And the content that I'm covering is what I've created on my slides. And they look like this. I'll just show you real quick because they're already up because I did class earlier today. So this is on their screen as another participant in Google. And, oh, it's not going to work. There it goes. And it's like we sing the Mr. Rogers song together. We talk about things that always make us smile. We do calendar, and then we did some skip counting. And then we drew graduation caps because we're graduating tomorrow. The requirements you must to do a VIP Kid is to have a bachelor's degree. If you're curious about that, you will find a ton of information online because teachers get paid for referring each other. So I'm sure you'll find somebody that will be happy to support you in that journey because it means that they get a bonus and that they're creating an amazing teacher for the students. All right, my friends, let me go back to your questions. Poor people. All right. So no, it's not big enough to accommodate all of those students, and I have no idea what they're going to do. How does your book club work? Okay, so book club is a huge undertaking on its own. It is basically, it's basically like you give the kids roles that they practice, like a timekeeper, a summarizer. By the way, make sure, please, that you've put your name here so that Anel knows that you're here. So there's the book clubs, and basically it's like you teach the kids these specific lessons about how do we talk about a book. You give them the power and the tools to make their own agenda, to make their own reading schedule, and then you provide them with questions, and they sometimes have discussion questions, and sometimes they write their thoughts, and that all happens as a group. And then on Friday, the students are able to share as a group what their reading was like for the week. So that was book club. What you saw in the video was a very specific purchase thing on Teachers Pay Teachers because I didn't want to make all those posters myself. And then that group discussion is really what it centers around. Whatever you're going to expect them to do, whether it's getting a pencil out or standing up, there has to be a routine for it. It's just like athletes when they train, there's muscle memory that's happening here. And so it's really important to really, like, to the degree you never thought you would. Like, I remember I was putting together a station and I was watching the teacher, and she was on YouTube, and she was saying, now make sure you teach the kids how to use the paperclip. And I thought to myself, lady, you crazy. Girl, I should have taught them how to use that paperclip that day because I did it the next day and it made life a whole lot easier. So take nothing for granted and have in your head really clear what that's going to look like. I am all off of my things because somebody asked about Lexia. Let me get here. Thought I'd be so cute with my cards. This is a perfect example, right, of teaching. I thought the cards would work. I had them all in order, and then things happen. It's just the way of the world. So right here, I'm talking about Lexia. Now, Lexia is a purchased program that the district uses. It's what's called computer adapted because the student puts input through a game or an activity, and the program figures out where their academic gaps are, where they're falling behind, where they need extra support. And then when they're done with the unit, they get offline work that are called skill builders. They're like centers and that kind of stuff. So that's what Lexia is. But this costs money. If you are looking for something on the cheap, teachyourmonstertoread.com and starfall.com. completely free, both of them. And Teach Your Monster to Read teaches kids how to read by starting with the most common letters, and then to the least common letters, then the most common sounds to the least common sounds, then the least all of this. It's super awesome, and it's completely free. Okay, so then how did I design my classroom? This is a biggie because your classroom design is going to change. My design changed. It doesn't look the same right now. I mean, I have like a writing wall, but I didn't have a publishing tracker this year. The website here, let me just type it out here for you guys. teachyourmonstertoread.com. It's so cute. They have little creatures and they go in all these little adventures and these worlds. And then the second one was Starfall. I think it's starfall.com. Not certain. I don't. Yeah, this is going to be, once I hit end stream, Megan, this is going to be completely out there. All right, I'm going to go back to classroom design. This is super important because when we get stuck in that Pinterest perfect loop, we forget what the classroom is for. The classroom is not a place to look adorable. It is a place where you need function and flow. Think about all of the things the kids have to do in a day. How are they going to get their reading books? Where are their reading books going to be? Will they have an individual box? Will there be a group box? These are all of the questions. And if you have any questions about how to go through this level of detail, reach out to me on Twitter. I'll be happy to chat with you. 100% happy to chat. So you want to start with the function. So that if you notice in that tour, everywhere I showed, there was a place there was an interaction with the students. There was a function. So like my writing area has all of the sharpened pencils. It has all of the whiteout. It has all of the publishing pens. It has the writing paper. So when you're in your classroom, there's kind of two ways to think about it. You either have a set it and forget it classroom where this is the writing corner, this is the reading corner, this is the math wall, and that's like the way you manage it. Or you can do like an unpacking, like as in when it's choice time, the students are going to pull the puppet theater from behind the Chromebook and open it up so they can access it. But when they're done, they're going to put it away and put it back. And that's their responsibility. All right, so then flow. Think to yourself, where are they going to stand when they're lining up? And is there anything nearby that their little fingers just will not be able to prevent? They won't be able to stop themselves from messing with. I had all of these super cute sentence dudes in the back of my room, and my second graders kept futzing with them. And I got so frustrated and I was thinking about it. And then I was like, oh, just have them line up away from the little dudes. So, flow. Where are they going? What do they do when they need a new pencil? How are they going to walk from their seat to their destination and back again? And that might seem trivial, but I want to remind you of that kid that's going to throw away a paper 20 times so that they can bug their friend 20 times. There's also the idea of putting like trash cans at their desks, little small ones. I always had like a mini recycling and a mini trash in the center of their tables. When they were for the upper grades when I taught, so that they didn't have to get out of their seats and get those things. So the other thing that's really nice, if you can get a couple teachers to allow you to do a ghost walk. I love ghost walks. Ghost walk is when you go to your like partner teacher and you're like, hey, sometimes I want to walk around your classroom when you're not here. Is that okay? And always get permission first. And then when they're like, yeah, you can. Then you can do this walk around the classroom. They're not there, so you don't have to, say anything or do anything. You can just be yourself in that moment and look around and imagine how the kids use the space around them. Doing that is, I don't know if they're actually called ghost walks, that's what I call it. But when no one's there and you're in a functional classroom, there's something there to be gained. Like there's like experience in the walls that you can like absorb by really thinking about, why did they put this here? So yes, then classroom year to year, Walmart bins, big enough room. It is an average size classroom. We have portables that tend to be smaller. What's really nice about the classroom that I'm in is that it's part of a pod, and I think there's 6 classrooms to a pod. Yeah, and inside the pod there are questions. Yes, if you have a teacher that's willing to let you go look at their room, that's a gift. Like, bring them a coffee. So that's all of the questions that I had planned already. If I didn't get to your question, let me double check the email just to make sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad I did go back. The physical space, yes, it is average. And how much time does your school give you? Especially when you're a new teacher, be aware that the district, what I have noticed, this is the pattern that I have seen. Oh, yes, I'll get to that because I actually have a really cute system for that. That doesn't have to be cute. It can be not adorable. It can be really plain. All right, so back to what was I answering before I got that, because I'm such a squirrel. There's going to be a conversation and they might say like, oh, you're going to have a couple days in your classroom. And you might think to yourself, oh yeah, 4 days, that's plenty of time for me to set up my classroom. But you won't set up your classroom. People will walk in, they'll talk to you, you'll get in conversations, you'll get in discussions, you'll get inspired, you'll go in one direction, you'll go in another direction. You'll have to go to the union meeting, you'll have to go to the beginning of the year staff meeting for the site, for the district. So just get as much as you can out of the time that you're in your classroom. All right, and then how do I manage pencils? So I'm so glad I looked this up. Oh no, because this is my old one. Oh, this is my new one, not my old one. All right, so that was my teacher bullet journal. If you have any questions about what a teacher bullet journal is, I'll be happy to chat with you at any point about that. So managing pencils, here's what I did. I got enough pencils. I got a ton of pencils. And what I did is at the beginning of every month, I would take those colored dots, like they're yellow and pink, they're like fluorescent colored. Okay. And then I would put their number. Here, guys, classroom numbers. Give your kids numbers. I'm not saying you have to refer to them as the numbers. I know for some people, ooh, a push-up. Yes. So I put the sticker with their number on the pencil, so it's their pencil. They get one a month. Now, if they can hold on to this pencil for the whole month, at the end of the month, I gave them a fancy pencil topper for next month's pencil. And did it suck for kids to sit there with their hands in their lap waiting patiently for their friends to get cool erasers? Yes. Yes, it did. But sometimes life has to suck. I'm sorry. But it does. So that's how I encourage them to keep their pencils. But the other thing is they may all have their pencils, but I have a giant, like a big old honking thing of pencils. And that was that have been sharpened first thing in the morning. And then that way, if they need a pencil, they can just go grab one. That's always, also, if you're in an upper grade, you can always ask the rest of the class for a pencil. There's always going to be that one kid that has an extra pencil. A whole class on, yes, managing, I'm all about it, yes. Something I did with my upper graders when it got a little crazy with the pencil situation, I actually required them to take off their shoe. I will give you one of my pencils, but you must take off your shoe and leave it under my desk. That way I knew I got my pencil back before they went out to recess, because they couldn't go out to recess without their shoe. Names are really nice, but they kind of take time. Someone said that they use names on the pencils, especially for little kids. That's really nice because then they can be looking at their names. Oh my gosh, I know. And if you have kids that are taking things and like kind of destroying them, that means that's a pivotal teaching moment. In that moment, you can be frustrated that they're ruining stuff, Or you can ask yourself, why is this happening? And with years of experience, what you'll learn is they've got some nervous energy. So you can do things to get that out. You can get dollar store squishies. You can teach them some tapping techniques. So if ever there's something that's happening in your class that is like making this happen in your heart, understand number one, totally normal. We've all been there. But number two, understand this kid is not doing this to you. This kid is going through something, and school needs to be a place where they can be supported super duper with nothing but love. All right, there should be, yes, we started right. Their name is on them. Yes. Yes, they're always gone. Ooh, Shelby does a dull and sharp container. That's really smart. And especially if you get into classroom jobs, Shelby, that could be a kid's job to sharpen those pencils at the end of the day. Yes. You know what I did, Brianna? Brianna's saying that she, by the end of the month, she'd have none. My plan this year was to like do all of the pencils and all of the numbers over the summer so that like I'd have 12 or like 10 pencils for each kid so I didn't have to do it because I always forgot about it at the end of the month. Yes. Swati said, and I'm sorry if I said your name incorrectly, that their mentor teacher had a cup for sharpening. And the reason I didn't do the trade-off is because they all had their independent pencils, but I should have had one. I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody knows what school is going to look like in August. Nobody. So for kindergartners, speaking of, if you are a kindergarten person, I'm going to type this in. CoachBen.org, kinderrockets.com, I think. His name is Ben Cogswell. He is a credit to the profession, and he is an insane kindergarten teacher. So I will ask him how he does that. If it were me, what would I do? I might find some way. Something I did in 5th grade was that there was a pencil cup in the middle of the table, and each corner had a color, and each color had a job. And one of the jobs was, before we go out to recess, count the pencils in your cup. Natalie's talking about how administration has discouraged the share of school materials. I would recommend putting everything in Ziploc baggies or individualizing it. A cheap way is with grocery bags. That's what I did. I went in my classroom, threw everything that belonged to a kid. So if something Natalie, now that I'm thinking about it, there might be you might want to put like a hand sanitizer pump next to your pencil sharpener or next to your dull and your sharp. So you could go, I'm a kid, this pencil's dull, drop off the pencil, take a squirt, old pencil, pick up the new pencil with the residue, squirt, and then go sit down. So maybe putting hand sanitizer near those areas where there's common things that they're using so they can sanitize the item they're returning, their hands, and the item that they're taking. Yeah, there are people who will they will die on the hill of pencils, unless I'm reading what Maria said. Absolutely. There are humans that will die on that hill. I will not. I just won't. It's a personal decision. For me personally, when you're dealing with kids who have trauma in their lives, a pencil is an easy fix. It's one of those things. Again, if you think about this, right, what I just said, if pencils are driving you crazy and you have this one kid who never has his pencil, instead of being mad at him, figure out what's going on. Does he have an organization issue? Is there a processing issue? Are things happening in his life that, take up more bandwidth than a pencil? And then come up with an individual plan. I'm not saying he doesn't have to have a pencil. What I'm saying is you pull him aside. Let's call this kid Jenna. Jenna's always losing her pencil. Gosh darn it, Jenna. I gave you 17 pencils and I ate them all. So what I would do is I would do something very simple that looked like this. If you have your pencil at the end of Monday, I'm going to give this a check mark. Hey, Jenna, show me your pencil at the end of the day. Okay, great, thanks. Go give yourself a check mark or a sticker or a heart or a stamp or whatever. Then all of these checked off for a week equals some kind of reward system. I will talk to you at length about classroom economy if you're at all curious about it, how I run it, what taxes are, all of that stuff. Please let Anel know or let me know that that's what you're interested in. We're running on 45 minutes. I've got to wrap up, you guys. I didn't mean to keep you here so long. So look at the kid, the behavior that's driving you bananas. Come up with a system, right? And what I would really say is figure out what's going on. If the problem is, that there's no organization, then, create a very specific space in the classroom that's separate from that student's desk to help them build those organization skills. Because after 2 weeks of this, it's not going to be a problem. Oh, you're so welcome, Natalie. Pencil boxes are great. 1 second, let me show you something. Oh no, where's our drink? Hold on. All right, so we get these things. This is what I mean when I'm like, do it on the cheap if you can. So these are, you get them at Walmart. They're just these little beveragey things. We don't go through a ton, so it will be a while, but eventually, voila, free, ba-boom, totally free. So pencil boxes are great, but they can get expensive, so I like to find alternatives. Man, if you're desperate, even an empty one of these would work, right? Like, ooh, my cafe of writing utensils. That could be cute. Oh, Alvina, thank you so much. Oatmeal cans are great too. Do you ever have students? Yes, Jacob, what a great question. Yes, I do. When you look at the classroom, that video that Anel shared with you, you're going to see there's that Lexia wall. The way that wall came together had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the conversation I had with the class. I sat them down and I said, hey guys, I'm disappointed that you are not challenging yourselves enough. I think you can do more. How can we make Lexia tracking something that'll be fun? And they wanted a wall. And then the wall led to the organization, and then that led to a back and forth feedback loop. So absolutely, I absolutely take student input in. In fact, if I was going to be thrown into a classroom where I didn't know what the grade was until like 12 hours before, I would just get a bunch of butcher paper and we would come up with class norms, class rules, how do we treat each other, maybe even signs for all this stuff in the classroom. Because when students see, I even take pictures of my students when they're in their groups. It's like, there's 6 tables in my classroom. So there's 6 groups. And then what I do is once we move and they have a new group, I take a picture of it, print it on my color printer at home, just paper. And then I put it in one of those like clear thing. You know what I'm talking about, right? Those clear picture frame things you can get at the dollar store. The dollar store, my friends, the dollar store. And so, yes, that kind of stuff is cool. Yeah, put construction paper over and wrote it. That's how you do it. Katrina, I will talk at length about a classroom economy if you would like. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. You guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have, ooh, yes, they can be decorated. And you could even not be the one to decorate them. This comes off, this is clear. You could have students write their addition facts on this. You could have them write their multiplication facts, commonly used formulas, inspirational quotes, anything. Ooh, girl, I could talk to you about small groups all day long. Binder checks, yes. So Brianna just wrote about binder checks. Binder checks are awesome. In fact, there's a whole system called the organized binder, but I think it costs money. So I think you can kind of like absorb what it's about and then do it yourself. It takes a lot of prep and it's really good for any grade level. I kind of thought about doing binder checks for second grade this year, but I'm not going to put a lot of input. I'm not going to put a lot of time into it right now because we don't know what school is going to look like. So I kind of went with like a digital thing. Do you want to? Okay. So my friends, thank you so much for being here. If you have things to do, get lost, be gone. Anel loves you. I love you. Take care of yourselves and enjoy. For those of you who are just sitting here hanging out, stay. You're welcome. You can either go away and do the Anel assignment. Maybe that's her texting me. Is it? Is it you, Anel? No, someone else. Sorry, Anel. So she has, oh, yes. Please. Yes, oh my gosh. Guys, I could talk for hours. That's why I'm saying you need to go away. If you want to stay here and chat, we can, but you may be gone. Yes, this is Jamie Lynn. What a beautiful name. Jamie Lynn, yes, I'm absolutely going to be here every Wednesday at noon. I'm just going to go live and talk about whatever you guys want. This is just like, I'm a teacher. And I love teaching and I'm passionate about teaching. And if I can give you anything that will make this journey more pleasant, please literally do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am here for you. Even if it's just to like be like, oh, things suck. Because I'll be like, yeah, they do. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So, here's my question for those of you that are hanging out. The binder checks, I have done something similar on a document. Would you like to see it? Yes, of course, I am here. I have no idea. Anel, if she doesn't do the assignment, does she still get the 1 hour credit? Yes, here's my email address. And if you're like, I really want to talk to you one-on-one, here's my booking. Okay, I'll show you. Oh, the Google Doc. They're asking about the Google Doc, Anel. Oh, thank you. It's a total lie. Like, that's the fabric. That's the way that it's. I had someone hand it to or give it to me, and a fellow quilting friend. And it's just the funniest thing to me because it's just a print. It's not really quilted at all. All right. Okay, someone said yes, they would like to see that. Okay, so I'm gonna, I don't know how to present on this screen. Man. All right, don't worry, guys. That's the other thing that's really nice about teaching is your brain becomes so elastic because you're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's go to this. Ooh, that didn't work. Let's go to this. All right. There it is. So I created this. So once I found out that we don't really know what's going to happen at school, it was super important to me to create something that I could either use in class or that the kids could use out of class. So this is going to be a little wonky. It's going to be hard to see. But this type right here is called Lexend. And it's one of those fonts that lessens the cognitive noise when students are trying to learn how to read. It's really cool. And you can add it to your Google Docs. And now Canva, completely free. You just click add fonts. So Lexend, let me spell that out for you. Lexend. Again, you guys, we'll be gone. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And reach out to me anytime. I'm just going to keep on going for the people who wanted to see this document. So this is a Google Doc or a Google Sheet. And down here are the templates. So this is just the title page. And all it asks for is the student name. And you'll see that I've even written like, please type your name right there. Here's the next page. And these all pretty much look the same after this. Yes, Emily, isn't that exciting? It literally just happened. I was talking to Dr. Bonnie, I'm going to say her name wrong. She and I met through a Facebook group, and she was like, oh, I saw your video, and do you know about Lexend? And then we were chatting about it yesterday, and bada bing, bada boom, all of a sudden Canva's doing it. So then this right here is document. It says, "Dear student, I will fill out the boxes that are blue." I know this is really challenging to see. And then right here, they fill in how much, the date that they worked on Lexia, and how many minutes they worked. Then I'm going to meet with the family once a month to go over this. So this is 4 weeks worth right here. 1, 2, actually 3 because it's August. Then there's a spot here for me to type my comments and a spot here for the parents. And I did that for everything. If you're still here, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention Prodigy. Go check out Prodigy. It's amazing. Now they're having questions about the CE. Ooh, and now is a TPA coach? What? I think the assignment, Swati, is to look for, so sorry if I said your name wrong, to look for the link. Okay, Jamie Lynn, if you want to know the most embarrassing story, hang out. I'll tell you about the time that I met Prodigy and how I had to have an intervention with myself afterwards. And Nell says she's populating the Google Doc right now. Grace, it is my pleasure. I'm so glad you learned a lot. You guys, it means so much to me when you type something like that you've learned something, because that's the whole point. So thank you so much. Yes, Prodigy's the bomb. Diggity. Oh, thank you, Swati. So Jacob is saying all the information she's putting into the Bitly doc from the master schedule. So you need to go to your master schedule. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. That is my pleasure. Anytime. I'm going to be here. So Wednesdays are your days. Okay, Patricia Lopez asks Anel, just to clarify, 1 total hour, which includes the follow-up? Hee hee. Thank you, Sierra. All right, there's a lot of you here still. If you have questions for Anel, you can go and type them. Oh, thank you. You know what I'm going to do while you guys are doing your questions and stuff? I'm going to sing a little song. Why not? So remember I was talking about overgeneralization. I wanted to learn the ukulele so that I could learn to sing Mr. Rogers' It's a Beautiful Neighborhood, because Mr. Rogers is the treasure of my heart. He and Bob Ross are like my guiding forces, you know, kindness and love. 2 hours, everybody says 2 hours. Yes, Wednesday at noon. Wednesday at noon. And so there's little songs you can learn how to play really easily. This is just a G and a C. And I can go through it and sing this song, and I can practice all my phonics. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. So then it goes on to, I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. Or you can go on to, I like to oot apples and bananas, etc. Yes, Patricia, I get it. What do we put as the, and now there's a question about who to put down as the presenter. Alvina, I'll be here every Wednesday at noon. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely, guys. We're closed. We're done. You may be gone, but I do owe Jamie Lynn an embarrassing story if she's still interested. Well, okay. That's fair. Eveline, am I saying your name correctly? That's fair. My purpose of telling you that information is so that you can be prepared. Stress is a real thing, you guys, and I am always talking about self-care. You have to take care of yourself. An empty vessel has nothing more to give. There's no way. You have to figure out some way to fill your own bucket. So I'm so sorry. If you're stressed, please take a tub bath and know that it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Thank you, Amber. It was my pleasure. I'm so sad that you're distressed, Evelyn. That's really kind of worrisome. I'll be more careful with what I say in the future because I want you to be prepared and I want to be honest. I don't mean to make you feel discouraged or stressed in any way. Oh, thank you so much, Sierra. Please email me, of course. Guys, what's that song? Do you remember that Jason Mraz song? It's like, I'm yours. I'm here for you. I am your YouTube mentor human. All right, friends. All right, Jamie Lynn, are you still around? You ready for that embarrassing story? God, okay. So I found Prodigy on my own like 5 or 6 years ago. And when I say on my own, I really mean I think I found it on Twitter from a friend. So I find Prodigy, and because I teach in an area where it's really challenging to get kids engaged, which is true across the board, I really saw a lot of growth with my kids in Prodigy. All of a sudden, kids who wouldn't practice their math facts were practicing them on Prodigy. And it just brought me to tears what a difference it made for my kids. And so I am an Edu fangirl. All of this doesn't necessarily always go on pause when it should. So I find out I'm at Q Palm Springs 2016, and I find out that Prodigy is there. Oh my gosh. I lose my mind, and I'm in this exhibit hall that's just a rectangle, and I'm running all over the place, and I am freaking out because I found out the Prodigy is there and I have to find them. So I get so excited and so I have to put myself in the corner like a toddler and remind myself, I know how to search in a rectangle. Just go like this, Jenna. Just do it in lines. So when I find Prodigy, this poor man was in the middle of a conversation, and this poor woman was in the middle of having a conversation, but he was wearing a Prodigy shirt, and I saw Prodigy from across the room and screamed, Prodigy! And then I ran at the man with probably more energy than anyone has ever ran at him in his life, and completely interrupt the conversation so that I can hug him, not just be like, oh, I really like your product. It's really nice. And no. I scream like a lunatic and then hug the man completely against his will. Then I realize what I'm doing, and I'm trying to catch up with myself, right? So I pull back from the man, and I'm looking at him, and he looks familiar. And I look down at his badge. It's Rowan, the CEO, I think, or he's the dude that wrote all the blogs for it when it first started. So I take up all of his time and just Edu fangirl all over him from head to toe. Guys, that's one story of how Edu fangirling gets me in trouble. I will tell you, there's one human on this planet that has survived or never even encountered, and that was Sir Ken Robinson. I was at a conference. He's up there. He's amazing. If you don't know Sir Ken Robinson, oh my goodness, go read a couple of his books. He talks about creative schools. It's amazing. And all these people are going up to him with a selfie, and they're all normal. So I kind of like tell myself, maybe I can do this. And I get in line and I'm like 6 feet from him and I'm like, nah, this man's a knight. He doesn't need this nonsense. So I took a really long distance selfie that's still like on Twitter. So yes, that is my embarrassing story about how I acted like a complete silly goose in front of all of my professional friends. Yes. Yes. Oh, I didn't meet him because remember, Anel, I didn't meet him because, like this. I have a friend, Anne, who works with Flipgrid, and we always joke, like, that Spinal Tap joke that it's like, this one goes to 11. We always joke that, like, she and I are, like, at 11. And, like, that was around the time I was starting to get a little insecure and be like, maybe I shouldn't pester people. I know, but I love him too. I love him too. He is the paradigm shift guy. See, but I love him so much, I wasn't going to inflict him with all of this. So I just took a selfie from far away. All right, my friends. Are there any other questions before I leave? Please email me. Please tweet me. Please reach out. Comment on videos if you have any questions, anything like that. I know it's probably very strange to have a stranger tell you through the computer that they love you and that they're here for you. But I do, and I am, because you are about to enter the greatest profession ever. All of this, Emily, all of it. You're awesome too, you guys. And please take care of yourselves. Figure it out now. It took me a long time to figure out self-care. So if you can figure out what makes you feel great, Oh, thank you, Jamie Lynn. I believe it. I feel it. I feel the love. All right, my friends, I'd sit here and talk to you all day. You are amazing. All right, guys, I'm going to hang up. I'll talk to you next week. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Love you too, Emily. Okay, guys, I would just sit here and talk to you all day. So I have to go away now. Bye-bye. I love you. Bye. See you next Wednesday at noon.